Procrastination Radio.
Seconds.
You want me to start this with this pitch?
What pitch?
All right. So I was talking to my boss today, and my
Yeah.
boss was like, "Hey," he's like, "Do you know any designers?"
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "His name's Ian Complex. He's really great. I think he's." I just started gassing you up,
Yeah.
and he's like, "All right, send me his portfolio right now. I want to hire him."
Bro, what?
I'm dead serious.
Now I gotta make a portfolio?
I said this. I
That's a crazy way to
told you.
start.
He's like, bro, he would be wicked. I was like, bro, I was like, he's insanely gifted. I was like, I don't even like saying this, but I think he's better than me. I was like,
Now I gotta hurry up to this.
bro,
Oh, my best
I'm dead serious. If you want full
That's
time, part time, working from home, he'll do it.
What?
Yeah, I'm like, he's like, where is he working? I'm like, he's working at like Whole Foods, right? You're working at Whole Foods, right?
Yeah.
I was like, get the frick out. He's like, get the heck out of here. Tell him to leave.
Whoa.
So you could be working with me, dog.
Nah, that's crazy.
On the same team, and we could be
Brother.
learning how to do all the stuff that we've been dreaming of
I
doing
literally was
correctly.
to my mom about this. I was like, this is like, I'm feeling that it's been what, 3 years now? Like, I'm feeling that 3-year itch. I'm like, this is not
It's not
creative in any way. Like it's good with communication skills. Like that's like a blessing that it got me out of my shell and be able to talk more, especially as a person who is podcasting for most of my profession. But dude, I was just like, I'm only here for the people, and I was like, this is not a good thing if it's just like the people that are keeping me in a situation, bro. That is crazy,
bro. And I'm telling you, and no diss on my current workplaces, the past workplaces. Like, it's great. I've loved every single place I've worked at, but there is something about like doing something that you're gifted in that is just immensely empowering. And that's why I was like, bro, he would be great. And I've been plugging you like every single time.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah. He's like, give me his portfolio like ASAP and we'll work on it.
That was crazy.
So like off the cuff, like, okay. I mean, like, honestly, like you could be making like
a lot more money.
Like 45.
No, bro. Yeah, no. Yeah. No, yes. I'm literally gonna get off this.
And you get off on weekends. And then that means you can still do your craft. You can still go home and you can do your craft. I do it all the time. So, I mean, I work in a 9 to 5. I work there. It's great. I love it. And I'm learning so much. And like, I think I showed you some of the brands I've been working on and stuff.
Yeah.
But
no, but that's exactly what I was trying to talk about today, which is funny enough. Like, I'm trying to
wait, do we have to segue?
Oh yeah, hey guys, welcome to the Procrastination Radio. If you heard all that, this is Micky Brown. This is a very frequent guest. I know some people only watch the visual podcast. I don't think that was a thing when you came on the show those couple times.
Just purely audio.
Yeah, just the old audio on the SoundCloud. But yeah, dude, I wanted to talk today about stuff that's been like heavy in my thoughts recently. Kind of been struggling with how to communicate the idea of collaboration with other people to other people. Whether it's hey, I want to get you on the podcast, and that's it, or it's like, hey, you want to do some graphic design work for me, how are you so able to freely ask and communicate your ideas and your concept and your brand to these people?
I feel like, well, sometimes I feel like I'm the boy that cries wolf. I'm not gonna lie, and I'll talk about something for forever, and then no one listens, and then it finally happens, and I'm like, listen, like that's what it was.
Right.
You guys are just really, really slow, and I've been talking about this for a long, long time. Like it's gonna happen this way. I think there's this really good Simon like Sinek interview where he basically, it's a TED Talk where he talks about how there's only like 2% or 3% of people that are actually early adopters. And those 2 to 3% of the people that are early adopters are the people that you want to engage with. That's
Mm,
all you should really care about engaging with, because those are
mm,
the people that will express the ideas to other people. So I don't really, whenever I make stuff, it's not
yeah,
like I push it to other people. I mean, I I push it to usually my inner circle, and
right,
I crowdsource it because I know those are the 2 to 3% of the people that will go, hey, you should really check this out, and they
right,
talk to their
right,
people about it, um and I think it's also good to have, I have groups of friends, like I have four really really close friends I've been doing life
yeah,
with for like 10 plus years, right?
yeah,
And um I'll pitch all of my ideas to them, and they'll be like, yeah, no, maybe, whatever. And then they help me kind of communicate it better,
right,
because they're
right,
like, you
right,
sounded dumb when you said this, or
yeah,
maybe you should think of it a different way. And we'll go through the whole entire thing. And that's what's super important. So um, I think not focus groups, but pitch it to other people, plan it, figure it out, and then
right,
really noodle it down, because it could be done. And any idea is a worthy idea
right,
in the eyes of the world. So it just needs to be corrected upon. I
yeah.
don't, yeah,
Have you
I don't
ever
know if that
like
makes sense, but
gotten not like your feelings hurt kind of when you're like so attached to something like, oh, this
no,
is nah,
never, never.
never.
Uh,
Why do you think that is? Is that just like you or
I have extreme confidence in
gotcha?
literally every idea that I have, and
Yeah,
it's probably just my like innocence and stupidity
yeah,
approaching things, but I do not get like butthurt over someone going like, yeah, this is a stupid idea. Like I just go, man, I need to do it even more.
yeah,
It's there's nothing like telling me like, oh, stop.
yeah.
And I think the same thing was the same process with OK.
Mm,
With the brand and the people I wanted to work with, even doing music. It's like, you don't do music. I'm like,
yeah,
like
right,
who gives a rip, bro?
right, yeah.
Like,
I will. I
I
will do
I
music.
think it's a great song, and like
Yeah,
I've sent things to people where I've definitely sent you stuff, and I know it's trash,
yeah,
and I'm like, man, I need to work on this, and I'll keep working on it until I get it better. So I'm not
right,
gonna put it out because I have a very high standard for my work, and
right,
I'm not
right.
gonna. Yeah, and you should too. I mean,
Yeah, no,
I
yeah,
know you do, because
right.
you're sitting on a bunch of work that you
Yeah,
never put out.
yeah,
But it's like every idea is good. Every idea is worthy
right.
to be put into the atmosphere, into the
Yeah.
ecosystem. And I shouldn't get down if someone doesn't like one.
Mm,
If they don't like something, that's probably means I'm on the right track,
mm,
because I'm doing it
mm.
differently.
So what if there's a situation where your target audience is my camera frozen?
Yeah.
Oh yay, that's fire. I think it's still
It's a good still though.
I look very I look very
I'm
like
screenshotting this.
I look very I was looking very like stoic. That's funny. If you have something where you have your flock, you have your people who you go to every time, and like nobody likes it, is does that affect the confidence at all? If
No,
everybody in your circle is saying like, nah, this is not what's good. No?
no.
Mm,
I've already caught so much heat for crap that I've done, subtweeting people or whatever.
yeah,
It's like, it's at the end of the day, like I can't really get much more arrows in my back. Like I've already had enough.
yeah.
So it's like,
Just keep going.
just keep going. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, I think you posted it, and I think I took a screenshot of it, where it's
Mm,
like um it was this idea of genius, right? And how we look at genius, and like look at
mm,
artists, where if you create every single day, you're bound to hit genius at some
right,
point. Where
right.
if you just create every once in a while, only when genius comes, it's
Yeah,
like tiny little peaks, and people will go like, oh, that's really great. If
right.
I create constantly, I'm bound to hit something that somebody likes.
Yeah.
Love or hate, it does not matter. So I'm gonna keep on pushing whatever the heck I'm doing,
All right.
because I know that I'm gonna get hits and misses. It's like Kobe, man. Like when he was putting up shots, like he would
Yeah.
be like 5 for 30, and it's like, oh, it's but he still won the game.
Right.
And everybody's
Yeah.
like, he still had those amazing plays. Or
Still
and
shooting.
yeah, it's just like keep shooting until
Right.
shoot or shoot, dog.
Right. Right. Shoot. Yeah, dude. I feel like so much of the early show was me stressed out about not being creative, but really it was I was just lazy. One, I was being lazy because I was like, for some reason, creativity is not coming to me right now. When I wasn't looking for it in the
Yeah.
first place, I just was upset it wasn't there. So I wasn't putting myself out there to be able to
Yep.
get like I don't know if you're like this, but I need so much coming in to put like a little amount of anything out. So
Yep.
it'll take if I'm digging for samples, it'll take like 2-3 days to find one thing, and I'm like, okay, boom. Then after
Yep.
that one thing, I'm making like 9 or 10 beats. But
No, I
I
literally just now I just
yeah,
made 3 songs while
yeah,
I was waiting for you.
yeah. Like it hits when it hits, and it doesn't when it doesn't. But now instead of waiting around and waiting for it to come back, which would take like the 2 to 3 months,
Yeah.
the done and I can't like I know pro radio at this point isn't the boom 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 fighting NTS, fighting Apple, but whatever. But it's like at a certain point, I'm not going to be able to afford to do that to keep a business running.
Yeah.
Um, so just learning to be like, hey, do a drawing. I know you don't feel good. Just draw something. Design a shirt.
It's
Like
pushing us outside of the element that's always
right,
healthy. And it doesn't feel healthy when we're doing it
right,
because it's so outside of our element.
right.
But that's the point.
Yeah,
And I don't know. I feel like I've been going through that a ton.
mm,
Just in my own like personal whatever.
yeah,
And it's funny because I think there's this one quote that I saw and I just pulled it up and it
mm,
goes, the reasonable man adapts himself to the world and the unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself.
mm,
Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man.
mm,
And it's
mm,
like, are we unreasonable? Like,
yeah,
I know to your first question, it's like, do you lose confidence? No, like I am the unreasonable one.
mm,
Out of all my people in my circle, they're usually reasonable. Some of them are unreasonable,
mm,
but like I know that usually the idea that I have is unreasonable. And like it's the same
right,
thing. It's like it may not be the right method sometimes when you're finding music. You know
yeah,
this. Like it's
yeah,
not the right sound, but you know that there's something in there and you keep searching and searching and searching
yeah,
and there's something about that experience that is very like enlightening at the same time and
yeah,
very scary at the same time because there is nobody else surrounded like to push you forward.
exactly,
And that's the risk factor in it.
yeah,
um and that's the lonely factor in it, but at the same time there is something really beautiful about once you get to the end of it, right? And then everybody gathers around it and they're like, oh, like I get it now.
right,
So it goes
right,
it this it's a circle back to the very beginning of your question. It's like,
yeah. And that's all it is. That's all. I think the creativity is. It's like that conversation, and then trying to have people be like, "Oh yeah, like I get that. Like
yeah,
I understand why that is." Even I think and I hate to talk about it like this because I feel like a lot of people talk about it like this, but the idea of like content is so confusing to me
yeah,
because I feel like a lot of artists have in a means to try and survive and let their art have eyes on it, have turned into this thing where it's the create mindset, but
mhm.
create to cater to someone that is
You
going
can't do
to
that. It's not
right,
sustainable.
right. And it might work for short term, but I feel like the burnout is so much faster.
And it's heavier too
Yeah,
because I've worked with a lot of content creators and influencers that are
yeah,
big names,
yeah,
and uh they discuss some of their burnout and stuff like that. And for me, I've had that and I didn't know that I had it. I was like
yeah,
sitting and I was staring at my wall. I'm like, it's gray,
yeah,
you know? And I'm like just looking at gray paint. And
yeah,
finally I was like, oh, I'm burned out. Like I've hit my max capacity. And I didn't
right,
even know that I hit it. And I was like,
right,
how do I break through the ceiling? Because
yeah,
I can't let this be the max because I didn't do enough yet, you know? And an influencer has even more. Like they got to put out stuff every single day. And that's just taxing. We're not supposed to be like that. We're not supposed to live like that. We're not supposed to um, have that frame of mindset where it's just not healthy. You're supposed to rest. You're supposed to take a
Yeah.
day
Yeah.
off. And there's this one design company that I studied for a little bit where all their designers weren't giving fresh ideas.
Mm.
And so the owner of the studio is like, it's like, all right, I'll see you guys later. Take a year off and you get full pay, you get all your money,
Wow.
but do not come back in a year. And he's like, when you come back, make sure to bring fresh ideas to the table.
Wow.
And if you don't, just resign by the end of the year.
Wow.
And that I think is the most powerful
That's
that's a
crazy.
power move, dude.
That is
Straight
crazy.
up. But there's this idea of like I think it's like the year of Jubilee. So
Mm.
every 7 years you take 1 year off.
Mm.
And I don't think we do that. We don't do that. We just
Nah.
don't.
It's work.
Farmers will do it and
Yeah.
whatnot and other things and
Right.
whatnot. But like we just don't.
Right.
We can't even take a day off because content
Right.
needs to be out. And
Right.
think of how silly and stupid that is.
That is crazy. It is, but it sucks like so much because I think now people feed into that. Like even me, sometimes I'm just like, okay, like an artist will put out a song, and I'm like, all right, bet I want this album now so I can hear everything like in
Yeah.
context. And I try to justify my reasoning, like, yeah, it's just I'm trying to see the truth. Like, no, let them rock, dude. Like, let them get the ideas because I think people want what they can't have, and then when they get it, they're like, "Oh, next thing." And I
Yeah.
think I was so scared of that with like I told you, I took December. I had December, and I was like, I'm gonna start for January, and
Yep.
then I was like, that didn't make any sense. I didn't plan for anything,
Yep.
so I was like rattle in my head, and then I was like, dude, it's February's there, man. Like just plan for February, then you'll be fine, and you can do this thing. And then literally in the last week, I like hit this gold thing that I was like, oh, this was everything I needed. If I would have hit it in January, I would have making stuff that I didn't like.
Yeah.
Like I would have hated it after a week.
It makes no sense. It if we put like these unhealthy expectations,
Right.
and it's fine. Like fashion seasons, like collections, they take 8 months to build.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, when are you releasing your new thing? I'm like, bro, like, let me take time. Let me think. I have a lot of stuff done.
Right.
I know you do too.
Right.
And it's like, but let me take time to story build this thing. Like, why can't I be Frank Ocean?
Yeah.
Why can't you accept there's only 2 people in the universe that can be Frank Ocean?
Right.
Like, come on now.
There's no place for anyone else to do
It's
anything
Kendrick
else.
Lamar and Frank
Right.
Ocean
Just the
and
two.
maybe Solange. And like,
Yeah.
that's it.
Nah, man. Yeah. I don't know what that is then. Like, why is it that we have like, oh,
it's
these are the
it's
top.
because it's because we're like our tools that we
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
are we're so hyper in tune with them now.
Mm.
So, and I was doing like this study. I've been doing a lot of studying.
A lot of studying. That's good.
As I'm becoming like a bookworm. It's weird.
Yeah.
I want to, yeah. Anyways, I was like reading up on some stuff, and like the only reason that we're attached to like IG or whatever, like let's just say this one social media platform, right, is because of like the notification and the endless scroll. That's it. And it has color. If we grade scaled everything so it looked like a book, we wouldn't go to it. And I thought that in of itself was probably the most crazy thought. If the world was black and white,
Yeah.
would you actually have a lot of fun?
That's crazy.
And that might be a collection, but like straight up, like
Yeah.
every if the world was black and white, right? Would you actually run to all those things that you use daily?
Right.
And it's like, no, you want it.
Right.
Like we freaked out when it was like 45 minutes or like a whole day when Instagram was down.
Yeah.
Right.
That was so funny.
It was like, and for me too, I was like, what the heck? I was like, I
Yeah.
gotta post something for the
Right.
business.
Right.
And
Bro,
then
it's me not posting anything for years on end. Like, dang, what if I want to
yeah,
post today? Yeah,
today's the day
right. Today
apparently
was
that I
the
had to
one.
post. I'm like, if social media died today,
Yeah,
I'd be fine. And
yeah,
like I have to grow up, and
right, right.
I have to see like with grayscale eyes.
Mm,
Like I have to see like there's other things that are really beautiful in this world that can be just black and white, and it doesn't have to be. I have to jump to this. Oh, I
right,
got to do
right.
this. I got like just grayscale it for me and like simplify it.
Mm,
I don't need it to be so complex, and the world isn't as complex. The life isn't as complex as we make it. Yeah,
right.
there is complexities to life, but you can simplify those complexities
Yeah,
if we just took the time to grayscale everything.
yeah.
And
That's
I don't know that to me is just a wild thought.
yeah,
So
yeah, man. I just think artistry is overthinking about things. I think it's just innate.
yep.
So I feel like you throw artists' minds and their well-being and their financial status into algorithms, and that's like all you're gonna get out. But I do think I hope that in the future, as people get more detached but more in tune with technology,
Mhm.
I think is like really the important thing. Um, and like on more of a, I don't know how to describe it, like just not relying on most of your business to be from social media as
Yeah,
an important thing. And I
yeah,
kind of wanted you to talk about that, like how do you model your business or your business endeavors to
yeah.
be well off in these different places and to be able to have these things, and like the when you would outreach to like storefronts and different stuff, like how did you like go about doing that?
So I've reached out to storefronts. I've had opportunities to work with storefronts. I
Yeah,
just get way too busy to ever commit to anything.
right, right.
But the door is open,
Yeah,
so that's really cool. I just need to take them up on it.
yeah,
So it's interesting. I really don't post at all for my brand. I really
yeah,
don't do any marketing for my brand. Yeah, I still am amazed sometimes that I get people like going through the door, people that I don't even know. Like I had
right,
someone buy something I haven't posted in like 6 months,
yeah,
and I was like, oh, some person from Ohio. Hmm. It's like I don't know this person.
yeah. How did they find myself? I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, I don't
Right.
know how they found it, but I'm
Yeah,
super appreciative. I'm like, I'm
yeah,
thankful for the support, and like those are steady. They just keep coming in.
yeah.
It's the same thing with like clients that I get. I don't advertise my artwork ever,
Mm,
and if you go to my Instagram, there is no artwork that
mm,
I've ever done ever. I don't even when I was doing shoes for people, I
yeah,
never advertised my shoes,
yeah.
and I would never. I don't even have my own pair of my own shoes that I can easily create, for
Sure.
myself. Um, and it's just because I don't see there's more value in word of mouth than there is on
Mm,
social media clout. And I think people will take like I do make mistakes definitely in
mm,
business that I wish I could take back. I do make
mm,
mistakes personally that do affect the word of mouth thing, but like that's gonna happen. Like you can't have a perfect track record,
right.
Um, but at the same time, uh, there is this beauty in knowing that someone took the time to talk about my brand to somebody else,
Right.
and that I don't even need to speak on it, which
Right.
is uh yeah, that to me is the most heartwarming
Yeah.
scenario. It's I don't need to explain the vision because I explained it so well the first time that someone got it and they grabbed onto it and they're like, we're running with this. And that's the
That's
2 to 3%. It boils all back down to that.
that's another point that I feel like you are very like good with, especially because you are dealing with having to build brands for people.
Yeah.
Like how do you go about building a story or like a through line so that the brand is consistent no
Yep.
matter what happens, no matter what the shakeups are, no matter where it's like, oh, I want to pivot this way, where it's still like, oh, this is this brand. Like
Yeah.
how would you go about doing that?
So I'll do a personal example. So the in a personal project that's actually I think I just showed you.
Mm,
But I've been working with a $500 million company for the past 2.5 months, and I've been rebranding their whole entire company. And so I got on board, and I noticed something in the onboarding when they were talking about the brand. They're like, hey, like, these jewel facets are like our core of the brand.
Mm.
So I listened to the owner, and he was just in love with the current identity of what he had for his brand.
Mm.
And I think I think back in like podcast number 8, right, when I first jumped on this thing, you asked the same questions, like what inspires you the most, and I think I said conversation. If
Yeah.
Usually I'm pretty consistent with that.
Yeah. I think
That's
in every episode we talk about, it's
Yeah,
conversation
it's
important. Yeah.
conversation,
Yeah.
and it is. If you do not listen to the conversation and you cannot pull away the emotion and the tones of what someone is saying,
Mm.
you
Mm.
have missed what they are trying to communicate to you.
Mm.
Because and maybe again it was probably you that posted this, where it was like a brand, like I could see a circle, right?
Right.
And someone could say that's a logo. To you, you're like, that's a circle.
Right.
Now, when I go like this and I cup my hands and I tell you what's inside of here, you're like, what's inside? And then I just present you the circle. Now it has more meaning
Right.
because I gave you a whole entire explanation, the whole
Right.
vision,
Right.
and the whole
Something behind it.
like it gave you more life to what
Right.
was inside
Right.
here. You didn't see it for what it was, and then you saw it and you're like, oh, it's just a circle.
Yeah.
But now that circle has so much more depth.
Yeah.
It looks like it's 3D. It feels like it's 3D. And that's what you have to do with brands. It's not I Paul Rand talks about it, where he goes, you don't give people what they want, you give them what they need.
Mm.
And I'm not going to give somebody options either. I
Mm.
I personally don't like giving options. Like even on my own
Like design wise, or
yeah,
like,
design wise, I hate
okay.
giving options. I hate it.
Mm.
Because a lot of times clients pick the worst ones.
Mm.
It's just how it is.
They like, bro, I did all this work for
Oh
what?
yeah, and I know the one that I made is probably worth $1 million.
Yeah.
Like if they probably could have used it, it'd probably be worth $1 million. And if they really ran with it, put all the meaning behind it, but they don't, because they're like, I need all these different visuals to indicate what the meaning is. No, you
Yeah.
don't. Your meaning comes from your words.
Mm.
Your meaning comes from how do you storytell your brand.
Right.
The logo cannot do that.
Right.
The mark cannot do that, and that's proven.
Right.
Nike does not say just do it,
Right.
but the check now symbolizes just do it
Right. Exactly. It's in
because
your
someone
head.
said that.
It's
Yeah,
just like tattooed on your brain. Like, oh yeah,
yeah.
that's like,
Nike does not mean athlete.
right.
The symbol does not mean athlete. It just looks like it's fast. And then someone said, well, that's what an athlete is. That's all it is. And same thing with Adidas, same thing. Like all these people think that brands have to have like some specific classification
Right.
for how to build their logo. No,
Yeah.
it does not. It's not true. And with the company I was working with, I listened to the dude and I said, hey, I was like sitting at my desk and going, so I'm not going to build something new. I just don't think that there's any reason to.
Mm.
And for some people, they're like, that's stupid.
Right.
If you're rebranding a company,
Right.
you remake the logo.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. If I really think the current logo is doing its justice, then there has to be a solution around there, around that idea.
Yeah.
So I basically took the logo and I fixed it. And I fixed it into a way that it could be current. I fixed it to where the colors weren't so dull. I fixed it to um, align the shapes a little bit more properly so they were all symmetrical and stuff like that. And it was easier on your eyes. And that's what I did. And now I honestly think that the logo that I created, in all seriousness, can 100% rival Windows
Mm.
and Apple. And like I didn't change much.
Right.
But I believe in the ethos, and I took the speech and the language that the co-founder was talking about, and I implemented that into the design, and now the design has so much more to say. Before, I had nothing to say. It just said, "Oh, this is a brand," and now
Right.
it says, "Oh, this is a team. This is about people.
Right.
This is about the pillars that this brand stands on."
So when you pitch that to the person who's like, I wanted you to simply turn this into a bunny, or like I wanted to da 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 da, and you
Yeah,
come back with like, hey, this is your story back to you. How do
yeah.
they usually react to that?
Um, some people are like, "I wanted a bunny," you
Right.
know,
Right.
like,
Do the bunny now.
yeah. I think I'm very like I'm a four if we're talking like on the Enneagram, right? So I'm
Yeah.
purely emotion, and like a lot of the text and the way that I talk is emotionally based and emotionally charged. So even though a lot of the artwork I do, that's why I think I can make good work.
Mm,
It's because I can really hit people's emotions, and I'm not
right.
even. It's not even like I'm trying to do that. It's just
Right. Right. Happens.
that's yeah, it just
Lateral.
happens.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the brands that I got in contact with is he had one name, right? And he was like,
Mm,
"Oh, it's like I like this name," and I was like, "That." I was like, "Mm, I think you could do a name change." And
yeah.
so like I started looking up like the Latin words for everything and whatnot, and find this word. It's like nisus, and he's like, "Oh, so much better than ascension." I was like, "Yeah, because you hear ascension all the time," and it's like I don't even know how to spell ascension,
How do you spell
right?
nice?
Yeah, but nisus is easier. Once you learn how to spell it once, you won't
Right.
forget
Right.
it.
Yeah.
You know, like yeah, it will be a little bit more difficult off first rip,
Yeah. But it'll make you
but
remember it because you're putting the work to try to
yeah. And
get
then
it.
also like the tagline could be like, "It's nice."
Yeah, it works in different ways. Yeah.
It's just easy like that. And
Yeah.
so now I have to figure out how to make a logo for it. Like I do way more research than I ever put pen on paper.
Yeah.
Um, I probably do at least like 24 hours of research, and
Before you
then
start.
I only take maybe an hour or two to
Mm.
design.
Is that
And
on
that's it.
purpose to take
Hmm.
such short time with design?
Hmm.
Why? Like, what do you have you tried both ways? Have you tried to like spend like
Long.
a week trying to?
Okay, so you would know this good, right? Is if you take too long on a piece of art, right? You just get uninterested.
Yeah.
So why would I take too long on a logo?
Yeah.
This someone's brand is on the line. Time is money. You
Yeah.
know, they need this fast.
Right.
I don't want to, and it's not like I'm rushing something. I'm still gonna think about it.
Right.
You could you usually will take like 40 to 80 hours, right, to build something if it's decent.
Yeah.
In the logo space. That's how I feel about it. Some people take a little bit longer. Some people will take like months and whatever. I think you should spend months on building the ecosystem that the logo sits
Mm.
in, but
Mm.
not on the mark. Does that make sense a little
Yeah.
bit?
Yeah. You should get them the visual, but like, yeah, building the everything into
Yeah.
story and stuff. Yeah.
So like the logo that we worked on, right? The one with the snakes
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
triangle, right?
Yeah.
Like how fast did I do that?
It was upsettingly fast,
Right?
and I was
So
I was scatterbrained for like a week before that, trying to like figure everything out.
but it was the conversation, right? You told me
Right.
about the thing, you showed
Right.
me your visual, you showed me, I was like, okay,
Right.
now what if we just broke it into shapes?
Yeah.
That's it. And you can do the same thing visually with faces,
Right.
and you can do the same thing with building blocks. So why
Right.
can't we do the same thing with the logo? And all it does is you have to look at it differently.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at things like a triangle and you just tilt it, it's still a triangle, but now it's a
Right.
play button.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of look at things. I'm not so hyper focused on like oh my gosh, this angle has to be correct at this exact moment. I'm just
Yeah.
like, give me the concept, let's build the concept,
Yeah.
get it done. We have something to work with. We'll clean it up later. That's what you did. You
Yeah.
made the logo. I didn't make the logo for you. You
Yeah.
made it. All I did was clean it up.
Right. You're good at breaking things down to like the bare.
The bare minimum.
Right. And then being like, I think with maybe not the art style, but the way my brain works with certain things, I'm like, okay, let me try to take as much I can like as I can, and then make something very specific with it. And I feel like you're like, okay, let's start like right here, and then see like how we can pack everything
Yeah, I
into this.
reverse engineer.
Yeah.
I don't fall on like it's like when I was a kid, I never bought like Legos, full Lego sets. I would try to learn how to build them on my own with some bricks
Mm,
that I had,
mm,
and I wouldn't have instructions.
mm,
And even when I did get a Lego set, right, my goal was to never use the instructions from the
mm.
Lego set and build it myself
Figure it out, yeah.
and like figure it out and reverse engineer it. Like,
Yeah,
okay, if I look at the image, can I break this all down and figure out how to build it all the way back
right.
up? That's all you have to do. And
Yeah,
it is very hard to do.
yeah,
It does take time to figure that out, but
right.
um when it is back to what I'm saying. It's simplifying life. It's simplifying if we saw things grayscale, if we saw
Yeah.
things like if we look at too many things all at once, we get overstimulated.
Mhm,
Um and so I just try to break things down the
yeah,
best I can and like simplify the information. I'll write one of my mentors in the design world. He was like, "Hey, just write everything down, and you make like a bubble chart. So you have the center of like what the name of the brand is, and then you have everything that it applies to, and then you figure out how to wrap all those things and tie them back to the brand, and that's how
mm,
you can make a good
mm,
design."
mm. That's
And I've taken so much stuff from everybody I've learned
yeah,
because there is a lot of value in a lot of the voices that I've heard from people.
yeah,
Like it takes many voices to raise a raise a man, and many souls to
yeah,
many angels to raise a soul. Like it's just how it is,
yeah,
and you can't do it by yourself. And that's where collaboration is.
right,
Every conversation I've had, one's with you, one's outside of this one, they're all so important. Um, because they're all learning tools and they've helped me break down information easier and easier and easier as life goes on. I'm not trying to overcomplicate it anymore. I'm trying to make it simpler and simpler and simpler. And then
right,
that way people can really understand the message.
right. I think that's a very important thing, again, with artists recognizing how to better produce work,
Yeah.
because like you said, the more I do the stuff I do, the more I'm like, "Oh, I want this to be easier. Like, let me get this plugin so I don't have to chop this sample 9 million ways. Like, it works. Like, I learned how to do it. I know how to do it if
Yep.
I need to, but this is so much easier that it lets me get ideas out easier. It lets me move past a beat that would have taken me 2 days. I can do it in like 15 minutes and then just be like, okay, this is cool. Bomb. Who needs to buy this? Da 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 da. Let's
Yeah.
let's get this
And
turnaround.
I don't know what's your process for like for the procrastination radio logo,
Mm.
right? Like what was the process for that?
The logo, that was, I think, again, one of the quickest things I've ever done, because I
Okay.
was like, okay, I like this asterisk thing. Like, I just like, I think out before a long time then, I was drawing like those star shapes.
Yep.
And I was like, I want something that's already in the font pack. I didn't know it would be like the universal logo for like every graphic designer that had ever existed.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I struggled with all the other logos. I was changing them every couple months. Like I had the circle one with the P, I had the
Yep.
different one, and then I was just like, I like how text looks when I take the stroke up a little bit. Like I
Yep.
make them really like thick.
Yep.
And then I typed it out and I was like, I didn't like it. I typed it again. And I was like, okay, let me just type them individually, put them together, put the
Yep.
stroke up, throw it on the edge. And I was like, oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty good.
So that process, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Mm,
You just and the thing is you knew everything about your brand.
right.
So it's easier for you to digest and regurgitate how you want it to look.
Right.
You just have to do the same thing with other people's.
Yeah.
So it's being very, very, very intent on understanding what they're talking about, very intent on what they're trying to describe to you, asking almost every question. Like what you're doing on this podcast is the equivalent of what you have to do when you're talking to a client,
Mm,
and that's it.
mm,
And I think that's how you win. That's how I feel like I've won with a lot of the stuff I've done.
mm,
And then when you present it, it's taking all of their emotion that you grabbed from them
right.
and then pushing it back onto them in a new, vibrant way that they
Mm,
haven't felt before. So
mm.
you're making them re-feel the same feeling that they had before
Wow.
when they were looking at the brand. And
Yeah.
then it goes, oh my gosh, like this is like it's a breath of fresh air,
Right.
And we talked about how like procrastination radio how do you get back to the same place of your roots, of that original vision? It's so hard to do, but when you find it, it's it feels better. It feels right. Because we get so like back and forth, off the path, on the
Yeah.
path all the time.
Yeah.
And then, once we get back on, we're like, wow, this is why I started
Right.
this again.
Where was I? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the same thing that these people want to feel when they have brands, because
Yeah.
I guarantee you, like the first day that you made your first radio show, what was the feeling?
I was at right. I was like,
Undescribable, right?
yeah. I was
Like,
like, what is this? That
and
first time I put
you,
it out was so crazy.
yeah, like it feels, you just sit. Like for me, I just sit and I'm just like, whew,
Right.
taking every moment, and it's undescribable. It is
Yeah.
undescribable.
Yeah.
And when you do a brand, right, and you repitch it to these people that are looking for something that is reminiscent of that feeling, and they get that, and you can see the look on their face, you
Yeah.
feel like you met them for the first time when they first discovered what the name of the brand was going to be. That's how powerful that good design is.
Yeah.
And it can literally reshape a brand. It can literally break a brand. It can do what, like when people say design does not matter, it does matter.
Yeah.
the the story, everything that you put into it
Right.
matters. And if you're not doing that, you're not having a good brand.
Yeah.
I know so many people that have good brand ideas, right, but they don't have good goals attached to their brands too,
Mm.
so they don't go anywhere. I don't.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say like I have it all together either. I mean, like there's definitely things that I need to do better in too, but I at least know that I have a goal. And I think you've heard my goal like a billion times.
Yeah.
Like I know exactly where I want to be.
Right.
20 years from now, 15 years, however many years that is. I know exactly where I want to be. I know exactly what I want to try to get out of this,
Yeah.
what I want to give to people. I know you know, my why, my how, and my what.
Yeah.
And it's not the other way around. It's not my what, my how, and my why,
Right.
because that's not what makes a good brand. You have to ask the why is what really centers you. Why do I do it? How do I
Mm.
do it? And then what? What is the last thing? If I sold T-shirts, if I sold album covers for the rest of my life, if I sold music and did this and whatever, if I did podcasts, if I did just client work
Yeah.
for whatever, if I sold shoes, socks, whatever it could be, that's the what. That can always change. But the why, the reason why I'm doing everything is the most important thing.
Mm.
So, yeah.
I'm glad we finally got this a conversation on a podcast, bro.
I know, bro.
Because everything,
We've had this conversation 4 times.
everything, it'll be like a slightly different thing. We'll get here somehow. Like, yeah, bro, you gotta be aware of your branding and like. But I think it comes back to this every conversation because what we do and why we do it is so personal
Yeah.
that it's like we can't help but get it into something or
Yep.
push it into like, oh, this is why I do this, that. Okay, it ends up here. Like,
Yeah.
and I love to hear it every time because it's good to hear people who are as passionate about something as you are. And I think people, if they can get anything from this, is to like take some time and reevaluate why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if it is for like
So true.
the views, for the monetary gain, and that's your thing, go for it. But if it's for you and you are putting yourself into this for the long run and you're committed to this, then figure out how you're gonna do it so you're not murdering yourself trying to explain yourself to other people. Like
Yeah.
let the brand be set up in a way that is gonna speak for you. You don't gotta explain it again. That's
Yeah.
something I learned from you. Like I can't keep trying to every month, like, hey guys, Procrastination Radio, all new. So I like stuff and I and I want to present it. Like, no, like,
No, it's the passion. And I
yeah,
think because you've heard most of the album that I've been working on for
yeah.
the past 6 months or whatever, but the one song, I think it was titled Mama 2 the first
Mm-hmm.
time I sent it to you, and it's like um, talking about my birth mom and
Right,
like the reason why I did my craft,
right,
and like why I wanted fame. Like first time I talked to my mother in 18 years, second time I saw her, cried several tears. Long was the nights I wanted to see her face. Long was the days I stare one of my traits. Do I have just to say I am the same? Um, and just like looking at my pain and like everything, every single moment. Like when people go like, bro, he just does art just to make money is the stupidest comment I think I've ever heard. Like I started this, bro, to meet my birth mom.
Mm.
That's the only reason I started this. The only reason I ever put my pencil on paper, the only
Yeah.
reason I thought like art was cool was because I first saw the gold medal and I realized exactly what fame was. And if I could get famous, if I could, get big enough, I could find my birth mom because there was no other way.
Yeah.
And that was the only reason why I started it. And sure, the goal it's not, it doesn't seem feasible, right? But that was my goal. And so when everybody was clowning me for the vision, clowning me for whatever, saying like, "Oh, this is the stupidest thing," and like, "Why are you doing shirts? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing music?" I'm like, "This is the goal. The
Yeah.
goal is to find someone I loved. Your goal does not compare. It just doesn't. And if you want to try to stop me,
Yeah.
you would have to kill me,
All right.
bury me 1,000 feet under the ground,
Yeah.
and hope that I don't find a way to revive myself and climb all the way back up.
Yeah.
Because that's how passionate I am about this.
Right.
I want it more than you because I have something it's literally unexplainable. This
Yeah.
drive and this passion to find somebody that is near and dear to me.
Right.
And I don't even know them.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
that's
like the hardest thing because like I kept that locked in a vault for like 18 years.
yeah.
And then when I found my birth mom on Facebook and she found me on Facebook, I was like, I don't have anything to work for anymore. And so all the goals had to realign. The vision had to realign.
How long did that take to?
It took a breakup. It took me sitting with 300 shirts in a box, an American Apparel box, crying over the box and going, how the heck am I going to sell all these shirts?
Yeah.
It took my dad coming into my room and just going like, hey, like if you can, sell, 10, you can sell the whole box. You've done all this, you've done X, Y, Z. You have all this people supporting you. I mean, bro, like it takes the Cyrus Azeems, it takes the Emily Crowbatches, it takes the Parker Collins, it takes the Noah Yeagers, it takes the Ian Complexes, it takes the Sean Holmans, the John James, it takes everybody, the Contis, it takes every single interaction that I've had.
Yeah.
And yeah, some bridges I don't have the same relationship with anymore. But those are the ones that have done the most for me.
Mm.
And 100%. I find myself every single time like more passionate, more driven to get to the end. And even same thing with like Monrovia, like me and Monrovia, like I've worked with. So like the first time I worked with Monrovia was like in high school at my senior year.
Mm.
And I was like, hey, he's like, hey, can you do my artwork? And I was like, yeah, I can do it for like X amount of dollars. And he was like, no. And he never hit me up again. It's like,
No.
and he's like, we're like cousins.
Yeah.
So I was
Oh,
like,
word, I
oh
know that.
yeah, it's like I've known him since I was 0. So
Yeah.
um I was like, oh gosh, that sucks. And I really wanted to do the work.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to my pops about it. I was like, well, what do I do? I was like, I want to do this. And he's like, just do it for free. And I've done so much work for free.
Yeah.
And for him, bro, he's a dog.
Right.
I will, like, we've had those conversations going, like, do we keep doing this? Like, some weeks they would be like, uh, every few days we'd be asking the question,
Right.
like, do we keep on making like more artwork for a project that has only like 1,000 plays or whatever, like
Yeah.
minus that,
Yeah.
with no traction whatsoever. And I'm like, dude, I will do this for free just because he's the one that's influenced me to do art.
Right.
He doesn't know that, but he's the one like that did that for me. As a kid, I would sit and he would play guitar, and he made the first album called Tribe of Shrews. You can look them up, and I think it's track 4. It's like Monster or something like that. And I listened to that song on repeat every single night, and that was the thing that like kept me going. Like, oh, this is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was like, I just want to work with this dude for life. I could not make a cent. I will get my money in some other type of way.
Right.
I,
And
I
figure it out. Keep that.
who cares? Money
Yeah.
is not the value. The friendship is the value.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with you. Like if you needed something from me, I'd 100%. I'd lay
Yeah.
on a sword, bro, and I'd freaking get it done for you. Like that.
No,
It's
yeah.
just how it is.
No, I
I
feel that.
like,
Yeah.
and it's because of those interactions. They're deep. They're
Right.
way deeper than
Right.
just whatever it be. And the first time I ever saw someone ever drew a picture for me was Nick Beach,
Mm.
some high school kid at Calvary Christian Academy, right? When I was like a third grader, he drew a picture of
Wow.
like Udonis Haslam like
Mm.
dunking the basketball, or it's some dude with dreads dunking
Yeah.
a basketball, and I was like, I want to know how to draw. So I copied that drawing over 300 times, and that's how I got good.
Wow.
I didn't get good because I'm like extra creative or anything.
Right.
Like, yeah, sure, like I worked on it, but
Right.
like I practiced
Right.
just like anybody else would practice. Just like all the people that are in like nursing programs and they're studying their brains out. Just like all
Right.
like, but it's the nursing student. Why did they do it? Maybe they had someone like give them a band-aid or whatever, and they're like,
Right.
I want
Right.
to help
Follow
people.
them. Yeah.
It's a full circle event.
Yeah.
It's not about just this these sophomoric surface goals that we have. And life cannot be centered around that.
Yeah.
It just cannot be.
Yeah.
And if you do not see the value in what people have done for you, understand the roots of who you become and like how you are, like then you've sorely missed out on the opportunity of life, and you will go nowhere. You will go nowhere.
Mm.
And I think my design is really good because I understand the people that are behind me.
Right.
It's like some Naruto like moment and
Right.
like Dragon Ball moment. It's like holding up the spirit ball.
Right. All
Like,
your friends complaints.
yeah, just like I have all these hands, bro. Like I
Right.
really, truly.
Yeah.
I know it's like such a funny reference, but like it is.
No, yeah, it's powerful,
Like
dude.
if my mom did not give me up, I don't know where I'd be, bro.
That's crazy.
But her sacrifice is the sacrifice that allowed me to have the same type of compassion for other people.
Right.
Like just this heart to do, to make things really
That is
great.
crazy. Yeah.
And my dad, like I know my birth dad. It's it's an interesting relationship. That's all I'll go into. But
Yeah.
it's even that in of itself has inspired me to be
Right.
better as a person.
Right.
Not to be like cynical about it.
Yeah.
And it's easy to do that when things don't go your way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, man. There is power in conversation. There is power in words. There is power in just people staying by your side.
Yeah.
And I feel like for the people that do listen to this, right, it's like,
Yeah.
are you that person, right? Are you asking, what is the goal? Are you helping other people reach their goal? Or are you guys being consumers? Or are you being contributors? That's the only two questions. That's the only question. Are you being a consumer or a contributor? And I'd rather be a contributor 100 times over than be a consumer. Just that's it. Because everybody is consumption level. That's why we want everything so fast. That's why
Yeah.
we don't want to contribute. We don't want to help other
Right.
people
Just
because
wanna
we're
take
solely
it.
based on ourselves. Because
Right.
we're the main characters in the story,
Right.
as Hasley says or whatever.
Right.
And that's just screwed up.
Yeah.
I know I am definitely not the main character in my story. Not anymore. After
Nah,
like,
yeah.
bro, after all the stuff that's happened to me, dog, like heck no. There's no
Every
way.
time somebody says like, yo, I started this because I heard your thing. I'm like, well, good. Now I'm doing it for you as well. Like now, now that you told me that, this is another drive to my
Yeah.
thing. Because it's like you said, like there's so many people, like every interaction, everything, and I catch myself. I need to start being more like appreciative of these people, like just letting them know, like, hey, like I know you don't know me, but like this so and so,
Yeah.
this like you put on my. I was thinking about a long time ago. This rapper Super Duper Kyle, his manager followed me for like a like an hour by accident, I think. And I was like, oh well, maybe I could do stuff and make it one day. Like I don't think like who would think about that to drive you to that point, but it did, and I'm here now still doing art
Yeah.
because of that little like follow and unfollow that I was like, oh, maybe people's eyes can be on me even if I'm not doing anything right now. So I got to get back in the mindset of just hitting people up and saying thank you. I try to do it as much as I can.
Yeah.
I do it with you sometimes. Like you'll send me something. I'm like, bro, thank you so much for doing so and so, and just like, and it's cool. Like I think some people get scared to be appreciative or to say thank you, but
Bro,
it's
and
literally
it's so nice.
yeah,
That's what we need.
yeah, yeah,
Like I take the time to write thank you cards to every single person that buys something.
yeah,
That's usually why the orders take so long,
yeah.
because I'm writing a card.
Right.
So and my mom doesn't know that, but like
Yeah,
I think it's so important, like is to write something. Like
yeah.
this person donated their money
Right,
to my cause.
right,
They may not even know the full vision, but
right.
they thought the shirt was cool and they're like, bro, like I want to wear that. I have to take time to say thank you.
Yeah,
It it means a lot. Like I did work for this one dude when I was in high school
mm,
for this guy in Hawaii. And he was like one of the first clients I had like out of state. I was like, who
yeah,
the heck is this?
yeah.
And I remember getting envelopes with napkins in it saying, hey, thank you, man, with like a check in it wrapped inside.
That's crazy.
And just the napkin itself was like, I appreciate that. It's a
Right,
napkin. It's a
right.
stupid napkin, bro. It's not even on cardstock.
Right,
And
right,
I thought like even on a piece of like receipt paper, if
right,
that was necessary, like he would
right.
do that.
Yeah,
And that's the level of kindness.
yeah,
That's a level of understanding the value of the people that help you out.
right,
If you cannot do that,
right.
I'm telling you, you will not go anywhere. And you
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
It's like what you give is what you get.
You get back, yeah. Time and
And
time again.
yeah, man, it's absolutely wild, bro. Like how people like think some things are like by accident. It's just like, oh, you get lucky. Like, no, maybe that's
Yeah,
the case, but like, no, most of it's hard work, kindness, and like a lot of other good
right,
things,
right.
you know. And
It's
yeah,
just so
dog.
funny, bro, because you every time we talk about podcasting, you're like, I like short podcasts. We're at almost at an hour.
I know. I could
And
talk for days.
yeah, yeah. No, but it was good. It was a good conversation, bro. I'm thinking I want to this was obviously a creative based conversation for the most part, and I think even in my head sometimes I jump out of what is creative because it deals with things like being thankful for people, being apologetic, being just aware of your surroundings and how you're coming off to people. But these things are innately human, so they're innately creative, and I just got to remember that and
Yeah.
have more of these conversations with people, have you back on, and have you talk more to these folk. But yeah, thank you for coming on, for real, for real. um Thank you to anybody who's watching. If you have any projects in the works, just start them. Don't
Just do them.
Yeah, just do them.
That's all it is.
They
I
don't gotta
think
go nowhere.
Virgil Abloh said it best. The goat, real goat. He
Yeah,
said, "It's a domino effect. It just takes one move,
yeah.
and the rest will follow." That's it.
That's it. And we're gonna end it like that. Have a good night, whether it's day, evening, wherever you are. Stop procrastinating. Go drink some water, because I know you probably dehydrated. All right.
All that moaning, all that groaning, all that screaming and then yelling. How can I help but lead you, my baby? I just can't deal with all those problems, all those worries.